This is the Personnel Committee on January 24th, 2024. It's an open session public meeting, and it's subject to being videotaped. Your image and your voice may be recorded per the open meeting law. I think that's it. So we can get started on the agenda that I posted. I do know that we were contacted by the Board of Assessors who wanted to speak with us about
Yes,
something.
I was contacted by the Board of Assessors because I know there's we're going to keep this all official. I was contacted. Before we do start, though, I just want one clarification from the TA. Board of Assessors are an elected board.
Correct.
So Board of Assessors, the 3 members, really make the final decisions about operations of that department. Is that correct?
It depends on what you're speaking about. Generally, yes, but the employees have to make sure they're following the personnel policies.
Right, they have to follow
the town.
Right. Okay, so we're on the, okay. Then I am hearing it the same way that you are saying it.
Okay.
The final decision, like, we can clarify and say this is what the committee, this is what the policies say, but the final call actually rests on them. It's not something that we vote on, or as long as they are following, as long as they are following the policies and procedures of the town of Berlin.
Right, and as
Okay.
long as if there's an issue that rose to something on an HR level as HR director, I would work with the Board of Assessors to try to resolve it as we've done in the past, or Board of Health or anybody.
Okay, no, I just want to make
Okay.
sure that
Yeah,
that we have that clear.
Sure.
yeah, because I think we've kind of talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
Keep it. So let Kevin start so we can go
we'll
home
invite-
and.
Yeah, we'll let Mr. Pond come to the
Bruins are playing
table.
tonight, so I want to get out of here as quick as I
Listen
can.
to-
Well,
I'm coming with you.
I figured that.
So, something came up in the assessors, and under the hiring information, it says Massachusetts accredited assessor designation required. So our current head assessor, Linda, has this designation. So in this paperwork, it says an amount equal to 10% of such regular compensation, provided, however, that in no event shall such additional compensation exceed $1,000 annually if such assessor or assistant assessor is employed on a full-time basis.
Excuse me for just a minute before you finish.
Mhm.
So that, if I'm not mistaken, is a Massachusetts general law that the assessing department has asked the Board of Assessors to review in order to bring to the annual town meeting. Is that correct?
Yes. If
Okay,
I
I'm
understand
sorry.
the
I just want
question.
to
No,
make sure that we
Mhm.
clarified that
Yeah.
particular part.
that's
Okay.
how I
I think it's important that we,
see
keep
it.
clarifying.
Okay. So if such an assessor or assistant assessor are employed on a full-time basis. So there's the first question. And then it says $500 if such assessor or assistant assessor is employed on a part-time basis. So my first thought was making sure this is correct. Making sure somebody's not double dipping. You know, you have the accreditation, you're receiving your compensation, you're working for the town of Berlin, now we're gonna give you an extra, how much more? But I guess, from my understanding, it's a common practice.
We did it for the treasurer.
No, long before that.
okay.
I thought it was done years and years ago.
What, this?
Mm.
I'll have to build the
So maybe it was, and
So
maybe
we
it
have to
got...
check to see if it's already been voted?
Yep, I had it on my list of potential town meeting.
Okay, so maybe we don't even have to go to town meeting, but, so that was one question, and then a question So I want clarification that this is allowed right off, one way or the other, whether we just say yes or we go to town meeting. The second one is 32 hours, quote, full-time employee in the town of Berlin. So I want clarification on that also. And if not, then how much are we voting to pay her as extra?
Okay, this is a stipend for a certification?
Yes, that she already has, which is actually required in the job.
She already had it, or did she?
No, she
Did
already
she have
has.
it before she got hired?
Yes, it's required in the job description to get hired.
Okay.
Or a similar one. There's 3 initials, but they all appear to be the same,
Okay.
quote, thing.
So-
But you
okay.
only get your compensation for one. You don't get 3 compensations because they changed a letter
Right,
in it.
yeah.
So I think that's one thing that we'd have to, that the town, when they're determining whether to make this payment on any type of incentive, they'd have to look and see exactly what the statute says, and then exactly what certification is presented, because the certificate would have to be presented as well in order to get any type of incentive if that's the situation.
Right. But she has it. It's what this is referring to.
Oh, okay, so she already has exactly what that's referring to?
Well, when she got hired, well,
The job
that's even a
description
better question.
appeared to be a little bit
It
different,
says
that's why.
International Association of Assessing Offices as a certified assessment evaluator, or Association of Massachusetts Assessors as a certified Massachusetts assessor. So that's what MAA is. That's what we've asked for in the job description.
Does it say certified Massachusetts assessor in the job description?
We have accredited, Massachusetts accredited assessor.
Right. So that's
the same
what
thing?
they'll have to determine when the time comes to pay any of the incentive, if that's the
So who'll have to
case.
determine that?
But I'm still
Kev, what's
so-
the
still
chapter
questioning
and
the fact.
section? Do you have a chapter and section? on
Okay, the
it?
town treasurer, he went and took a class, he passed a test, he got a stipend because he
I know
passed it.
there's one
It's
for
a
the.
certification.
He got a certification, okay.
Right.
And he got that, but he went and did it while he
What's
was on the job.
This is section, what's the chapter?
You come into a job, you've already got this
Should say that.
certification,
We,
It's allowed under Mass General Law
and then you get a stipend.
every year.
for having that certification.
Right.
Right now, the
Meaning-
treasurer does, the
So
tax
for every
collector
year,
has.
because this person has the certification, we pay them a stipend.
Usually, and it's an extra $1,000. Yep.
And you have to keep it up also. It's
Correct.
not,
It's an
Okay.
incentive to
Right.
maintain continuing
Okay,
education
and how long has she worked
certification.
here?
since
September.
September.
Usually, we don't give it as a lump, it's usually done weekly, is what we've done in the past.
So we have done it in the past? Yeah, okay.
So
I don't
So
know,
does it
I-
have to go to town meeting then?
I don't know if the assessors was done. I vaguely remember it, but this was quite a few years ago. Possibly they were done, but I know tax collector and treasurer have it.
Yeah. I can pull up the
I didn't know
bylaws
if
and
it was a that's what I was just pulling up, because I wasn't sure if there's a separate one for the assessors. I think there
There
is.
It's chapter 49, section 21A.
Okay, so then they get it, but then again, so then the last thing to check is
If we voted it in yet.
if we voted it in,
Yeah.
and even
okay.
if you're not, because it discusses hourly, does it matter that this person doesn't work 40 hours a week?
I think the statute says right in it.
Right, so the issue is, 10% of such regular
Oh, of regular. Okay, I remember
compensation
that part.
Compensation.
But not
provided,
to exceed.
Maximum.
Not to exceed, okay.
Not to
right,
exceed.
but it says, that's on a full-time basis. or $500 if such assessor or assistant assessor is employed on a part-time basis. So, under the town of Berlin, my understanding, it's full-time person is 40 hours.
In the policy manual, you mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And under Mass General Law,
Yeah,
it's a little
I
vague. They pretty much consider anyone over 30 hours under Mass General Law to be full-time. So I'd have to check with council and see if 33
Right,
hours
so do we go
is-
by Mass General laws, or do we go by what our policy says?
I can find that out.
So our policy says, a full-time position is 40 hours per week, and a part-time position is at least 20 hours, but less than 40. So, according to our policy, this position would be a part-time position. According to our, it's in the
Right.
Town of Berlin Employee Policy Manual,
Right.
so
And my
that's,
understanding was a full-time person is 40 hours.
Yeah.
So I
But,
can check into that and I can let you
Okay.
know.
all right. So, the other thing, if this is allowed, so we have to determine what the value is, okay? So, okay, and then I would think if someone else in the office was going to get it, I would assume that it would be prorated. So I don't know if this goes on a yearly basis. Say someone signs up in January and completes it in October. They would then get it in October and November, and I don't know if it's yearly or the other yearly.
Yeah, we.
Is it a
usually-
calendar year? Or
We usually
or
give it weekly, so that
the-
way there we don't have to ask for any money back if they're left, but I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
that's,
the way to go, definitely.
Hey, you owe us money. Good luck with that.
Exactly.
I mean, and
So then you're-
that's fine. They're entitled to the $1,000
Right.
per year.
Right.
I don't believe it has to be prorated, but if employees have agreed to that, that's fine.
and your department head just needs to make sure that it's,
Well, I want
In
to
the
make
budget.
sure that,
And
we
when
don't
the
do it. So
certificate
if somebody
happens-
gets it in December and we go by the calendar year, they pick up $1,000 in December, and then come January, they're off and running, getting another $1,000.
well, that's
No,
why,
it's
I
fiscal
don't-
year.
Huh?
It's fiscal year.
Okay, so it's fiscal year. So they got it in April,
Mm-hmm.
and so they would only get May and June's.
It would be prorated.
Prorated.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair, but come the following
Mhm.
4th of July, so I remember it,
1st of
you,
July.
you begin getting your
Close enough.
yearly
well, that's why I like the idea of
It's weekly.
weekly, I like
is the
that.
way we
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of sense, and,
Okay, all right,
so that was easy.
and still haven't got an answer, not that easy.
Well, Kristen's gonna go get those two
I know.
questions.
I
Right.
will.
I will, yeah, okay.
I will get
She has
back
to
to
get-
you
So I'm
in
glad-
short order.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad
the
I
questions that are still on the table that we're going to look at is that we're going to look to see if the town has already voted this in, right?
Which I'm not seeing it, but I'm just.
Oh.
Is it 5921A and a half?
59, chapter 59, is that what you said?
Thought it
June?
was 49, but maybe I wrote it down wrong.
This is the only reason, because in the bylaws, I have it chapter 59, section 21A and a half.
Wow,
Additional compensation for assessors for certification, certified mass assessors.
yeah,
Where is that?
that's got to be it.
Which date is that for town? Are you looking at the back of the back of the
Yeah.
bylaws? Which date are you on for that?
One moment, please, those are a little bit smaller.
Oh, sorry.
6/19
Kev, do you
of
want to write
96.
that down?
Oh, that's, wait, oh.
Page 36.
I hadn't gotten back that far
Well,
yet.
Some of it.
59, okay.
Chapter 59,
I think that may be
59.
it.
section 21A.5.
Let me check that. So that was 6/19 of 96.
Chapter 59, section 21A.5.
Yep,
happen.
Okey-dokey.
So is
Well,
this-
I have it here,
Right, oh, okay.
unless it's different from,
No, that's what
Yeah.
we were looking for, the Mass General Law, and June found it.
but I don't have, this says 21A,
Okay.
but I don't see the,
It could have changed.
59.
They could have
That's why I
added
have it as
something,
21.
'cause
So we're gonna check to see if
Yep.
we've already voted on it, and the second thing is you were gonna check to see if the state, what they look at in terms of whether they look at, part-time and full-time as something different than what our policy manual states.
well, based on that, we have done it at town meeting.
so would we have to go in front of town meeting again?
Not if it's done.
Nope, not if the chapter and the section's already been approved.
Let me just take a look. I'm just pulling up that section.
There it is.
Interestingly enough, why is it
Is
20?
that this one?
Additional sources of study. Here we go. Yep, it is 59A.
And
59A and a half. I was given the wrong number.
Great.
No, it looks like
Okay.
half got added.
This is the same thing that I have. This is
Same
the
dollar
same-
amount?
An amount equal to 10%, yeah.
Great.
And it's an award, it's an-
So
Recent
technically,
Take
addition
them
we've
off the
already,
town
such-
meeting list.
But shall not exceed.
now it's just a matter of is it classified as full-time or part-time
Right.
at the 500 or the 1,000?
Correct.
Right,
So that
right.
doesn't have to
So
go
the
to
Board of
town
Assessors
meeting.
will need to know that.
Yeah, what the,
Sounds like it'd probably be somewhere
looks like
between
there's,
750.
no, that's in here,
But
okay.
math is
Good.
not my thing.
Looks like the same thing. I just don't see. Where the compensation is in this.
go up.
10% of regular compensation, and assessor who has been awarded additional compensation. How far up?
No, go down, sorry. I meant finger up. Be nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
That's recorded.
You're the one that said it.
I can give it to you.
Yeah, but I opened it up for him.
I didn't see where it said comment. The wording is pretty similar.
Yay.
Oh, it refers something back to in
In
these.
21A.
Yeah, it refers back to that.
That's where I am, 21A. So-
Shall not exceed $1,000 annually if such assessor or assistant assessor is employed on a full-time basis, or $500 for part-time.
Yeah.
So that's in
Yeah.
21.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
good.
that's
okay.
$1 million question, I think.
Okay. we can
All right.
Find that out.
Okay, okay,
All right,
that it?
Well, thank you.
all right.
Good drop in the puck.
Gotta get going.
The only thing is we do not have any money in this year's budget currently.
Right, so it would need to be added through a reserve fund transfer in FY '24, and then we would need a revised FY '25 budget.
So would this be given for this past year as well?
If it's already been enacted and it's in existence, then they're eligible for it.
So that would be prorated to the date that she came on board versus the entire year, correct?
That's how we've done it, yep.
Okay.
So she'd be eligible for 6 months of,
About 9.
From September on.
yeah.
Yep. And
Is it
then-
an automatic or is there anything that,
one second.
So now would this pay 6 months all at once and then the
that's kind of.
$12 a week for,
They have to submit proof that they have been awarded that certificate.
Mhm.
And I would say upon a copy of the certificate,
okay,
and it does say that it shall be prorated for the 12-month period
okay.
in which the eligible person does not hold the office for 12 consecutive months, meaning the first.
Yeah.
So it
Okay.
would be probably
Term.
since she
Since
came on.
September 11th, yep.
Okay.
And then weekly.
Right. So she'd get a big lump check. And then she, 12
and
bucks a
then
week.
go.
But she has to go to FinCom for transfer, right?
Unless it's something that can be carried within the existing expense budget, which I doubt because it wasn't budgeted for,
Right.
so it would most likely need to.
And then she's going to
FinCom.
redo the budget for next year.
25.
So
Yep.
it's in there.
We'll need
Okay.
a line item for that like we have for the treasure collector.
And once you get the report, then we'll need a PAO.
What?
We'll walk you through it.
My secretary will handle that. Any other questions?
Have a good night.
Hearing no, then I guess I'm all done.
Any-
Thank you.
I'm glad he's running
you're
the meeting over here.
Thank you, Mr. Pond. It was nice to see you.
Just write down what you need. I'll get it.
Thank you.
Pleasure as
Thank
always,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes. Have a cookie, please, Mr. Pond.
So I'm going to move along on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
you.
bringing that.
Bye-bye.
The next part of the agenda is the minutes, and I had sent to you, actually, it was a while
A
back.
long time ago.
So I sent you the August 9th, October 20, August 9th, 9/27, October 25th, and November
I
1st
had to go back, yes.
minutes. So how did they?
Motion to approve
Motion
as
to
written.
approve. Okay, a motion made by Sue Terrian. I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Sue. Got a little behind on the minutes and then finally did them all out, and then we canceled that meeting, but it made me get them done, but we end up canceling the December
She
meeting.
got 'em done.
But that's okay, because then you were ahead of the game.
I was ahead of the game.
Which was good
So-
for that time of year.
Okay, great, all right. So the next item on the agenda is PAFs. Do we have any of those?
Oh, we have some
Oh, jeez.
saved up for you.
Yeah.
All right, which I was just going through
Well, as
to
long as we
refresh
weren't
my
holding anybody
memory.
up.
Oh, no, no.
You guys put them through anyway.
We did, just because I didn't want to hold anybody up, but I want to make sure you're up to speed on where we are at. So the first would be Scott Davis. Officer Davis is a new full-time police officer, and he is actually not a recruit coming to us, and is done his, obviously I'll have to do onboarding training and everything, but working, and
Great.
everything's going well.
Good
So I
guy.
have his
Great.
PA up here for you.
Great. Do you want to do them separately, or do you want to do them all together?
Let's do them all together.
Okay, we'll do them all together. then.
Okay. And we have an annual
Oxford.
step increase for Jacob Brescia in the police department as well.
Right,
Sorry, I'm like throwing them at you. I want to make sure they get to you.
thank you. Step, okay, PD, right? Yep.
All right. Then we have a contractual adjustment. It's a 2% mid-year COLA per the contract with Chief Michael McQuillan. Can't speak tonight, apparently. I think it's the
Okay,
mask. I
great.
apologize.
All right,
It's just you haven't gotten quite used to it.
It's weird to talk there. I haven't worn one in so long.
Yep.
And then we have Don LaFontaine, who is the new administrative assessor over in the assessing department. Has started, and I hear good things.
great.
See, I didn't do that one right.
Beautiful, thank you.
Doing some hiring lately. A little bit. Okay, and now I have 2 new recruits for the police department that are going through the academy. We have Alex Lima and Thomas McDonald. Do both of those.
MC. PD recruits. So with the recruits,
Yes.
can you remind me, so while they go to the academy during the day, or how does that work? Do they still do shifts for us while they're, no?
Nope, they're full-time academy until that is done. I forget if is it 25 or 27 weeks?
remember.
It's somewhere around there. And then they come on and they do their training, ride-alongs with the department, and then they'll be full-time. The whole process usually takes about a year.
About 1 year.
Because they also have to come on first, do their policies and procedures, because there's usually a bit of a waiting period between when they get onboarded and when they go to the academy. So they
Okay.
started the academy in November,
All right,
end of November.
wow.
It's a process, but they're
Well, one of them
Very
is a Berlin
good
resident, so
gentlemen.
that's
Very-
great.
Very nice gentleman, yeah.
That's great. The other person lives in Clinton, so.
We won't hold that against him.
No, no,
I'm
I
kidding.
I love Clinton, but I'm thinking, it's not too far away.
No,
It's not,
exactly.
it's not like,
No, they're both close.
Yeah, good.
They were both very motivated
beautiful.
men during the
Right,
interview process, both of them.
great.
Yeah, I got to
Okay.
sit in on the
Yeah.
finals. You were involved in more than I was, and I was impressed with both of them.
Great, okay,
So
good.
now I have a firefighter. This is more just sort of a perfunctory notification, but Peter Fortin has completed his probationary period as a firefighter. So he is now a permanent full-time firefighter.
All right,
And last but not least, we have Ken Patton, who is our new building maintenance operator for the highway department, and he has been fabulous.
great.
Have you ever had any more positive feedback as you get from Ken?
No,
I've had more people.
Really?
except about Fred.
What about Fred?
Yeah, he's about the same.
I
as
get
Fred.
about the same positive
Yeah.
feedback about him as I get about Fred.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, just
Yeah.
for a new person coming in.
Oh, yeah.
yep,
I've had people, who's that new guy?
yep,
Oh, yeah.
he's so-
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
yeah. And he's willing to take everything that we throw at him.
Anything.
Great.
Great attitude, great personality, willingness to respond, can-do attitude.
Yep.
Just can't say enough good things.
This is nice.
He's very pushy, though. Like, he wants to get stuff.
No, he
done.
wants to get done.
I was gonna say,
Yes,
you
he
ask him, and,
does.
and like 5 minutes later, he's in your office trying to fix it. I'm like, whoa, I didn't mean right now.
That was like us moving in here. Yeah, he's like, okay, let's go today. It's like, whoa, time out.
Yeah. We don't move so fast in government.
He's ready.
I appreciate it, but
Yeah. Oh, my word. Well, the wall got painted.
It did.
The
Like,
wall got painted.
I think that was his first week here.
It looks
Done.
really nice.
Yeah.
Great, great. Oh, my God. And that's it?
That's all I have. for you.
Okay.
Make a
So,
motion to approve the PAFs as presented.
and I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I'll take half and you can take half. Okay,
Then we can keep on going.
I guess. All right. All right, the next item on the agenda is any position vacancies or advertising vacancies that we need to look at.
Believe it or not, I don't have any right
That's
now.
great.
Knocking on the table.
That's wonderful.
Now, don't ask me tomorrow. But no, we have none.
Right, right.
No.
It's not allowed.
And I have to say, I'm so impressed. I mean, it's, always hard to lose people, and it's always a challenge to replace people.
Right,
And, everybody's putting forth their best, and it's, we're all trying to row in the same direction and work together, and we've got a really phenomenal group of people here. I couldn't be more impressed with how great everybody,
Great.
works together and
Yeah.
helps each other, and,
Mhm.
really has an eye for the town and for the residents, which is nice. It's not just about, oh, I
Right.
come to work, I go home.
Right.
It's like they care about what they're doing, and that's
Good.
really nice to see.
that's great. Okay. So nothing there. We're all set with the COLA, we're all set with the market. I didn't print off my new agenda. I'm waiting from the November agenda. No COLA, no market adjustments.
We're just sticking with the 2% for
Yep.
right now.
Okay.
You know, I'm concerned because we are a little lower on new growth projections than I thought, so I'm glad we stuck with initially being conservative on the cost of living. I know 2% is less than last year. We were at 2.5 last year. I just also see more of our need, as I think I mentioned last time, in hiring and bringing on some new folks in places that we really need them. So I think we have to balance that with some of the market adjustments to retain folks and also the cost of living adjustments. And it's a big balancing act to try to make all
Oh,
of
yeah.
that
Yeah.
work. But all of the budgets are in. We're starting to go through all of the FinCom meetings. We have another one tonight. And, you know, so far, I think things are looking good. It's going to be a tight year.
Okay.
And we'll do our best
All right.
to try to balance the,
Yep.
you know, competing priorities, and that's really what
That's
it comes
right.
down to. I think we will have to make some tough decisions this year.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I don't know that everybody will get what they want, but we will do the best we can to equitably spread what we have and make sure that, you know, our departments are taken care of.
Okay, all right. And that
you.
kind of runs right into the town administrator report. Are there other things that you wanted to bring to us?
Yes, so I actually was at the MMA annual conference this past weekend where they had a whole lot going on in terms of workshops, vendors, everything. It got me thinking again about our classification and compensation plan. I wanted to ask you if this is something we wanted to put an article on town meeting for. I did find out where the grant came from. It came from the Community Compact Grant.
Yes.
Which the funding has dried up for,
Oh.
but the governor is trying to put in more funding for that possibly next year.
Okay.
I don't know that it's guaranteed. So I just kind of wanted to get your sentiments. Do we want to maybe wait and see the grant? Do we want to put some funding from free cash in as a request? And the one thing I didn't know was the cost of the study last time. Was it 15? Was that what we
I
talked
think it was
about?
15. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it
maybe.
was 15. We did a separate budget item for it.
Now, did that also
Because that
include the
didn't come out of
policies, though?
personnel, right?
No,
That was
it
all the
was,
grant.
it was
That
the
came out
grant.
of the grant.
Did that include the job descriptions and the, okay, so
Yes,
that's why I
yes.
thought, because
I
that's.
was
It was
thinking it was a little
incredible.
more than
I
that.
couldn't
I don't think
believe
it was
that
more.
she
No?
completed that entire thing for the amount of the grant. I was,
How often do people normally do that, or is it that as we're going along, if we see, because like with the rate adjustments, market rate adjustments that we've
Yep.
been doing,
Yep.
would that keep it more accurate? Because before, we weren't doing any updates.
right. And the
Yeah.
last one, when I came on in 2018, one hadn't been done,
In
and I
Thorold.
did it all myself.
Yeah.
Between you helping me
Yeah.
with getting me onto the MMIA,
Yeah,
compensation survey data, calling around, getting other stuff, and I just did it on my own,
yeah.
based on, but
why I
then
didn't-
finally we got the grant, and Sandy was able to, do a little bit more. But we did do some, remember, we did do all
Mhm.
those market adjustments each year.
Yep.
That we could do.
And that does keep you up to date. They genuinely say, honestly, 3 to 5 years. You
Yeah.
don't go longer than 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it might be time to,
Yeah.
even if it's just to relook and see if we can get some
Might be time if we
suggestions.
can find a grant, but
Right.
as a taxpayer, I'm like, holy crap.
I think in light of
Yeah.
COVID, that's my biggest concern, is that this is an employees market right now, not an employer's
I
market.
think it's
And things
starting a
have
little bit
adjusted.
of a stop, but it's still there.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, when I look at positions on MMA, it's crazy what some
When I hear
places are
residents-
paying.
I heard a resident
And that's-
today that's leaving.
We get that.
They can't afford the taxes. And that's really sad.
It is really unfortunate.
And
I've
this is
heard
not
that.
like, this is
Yeah.
a very active person in town. does a lot of volunteering and. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple things coming down from the state that I was going to mention. One of them is new senior tax exemptions that the governor is trying to put forward, which would hopefully be helpful for aging in place, which is something that we've obviously talked about as our population grows to 34% senior right now and will continue. I think the estimate is by the next census we'll be at almost 40% senior population here in Berlin. So the governor actually has filed yesterday a bill called the Municipal Empowerment Act, and it's taking into account ways for local government to raise revenue. And a big part of that was an additional 5% surcharge we can charge on motor vehicle excise, some additional hotel and meal tax options that we can charge a little bit above. Trying to, bring in some more options for local revenue as much as we can. The biggest thing is, I think we're stagnating in terms of businesses and housing, and some of it is restrictive zoning. But you also have to balance that with the fact that you want to keep the character of Berlin intact.
Right.
So I did find out over the weekend that the planning board had applied for some what's called DLTA money, which is local technical assistance funding from the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, to look at some zoning assistance and make some recommendations on the town zoning bylaws that might help, alleviate some of those issues in certain areas where growth is more appropriate in the town. So kind of looking at all those different pieces and trying to bring it together so that you're putting less burden on taxes and
Right.
trying to take more from other places. Hotels tax also is one of the options you can go up on.
No, that'd be good.
Do we want to?
Because mine sure are.
Yeah, we would. Do we want to encourage looking at the HR, the grants for this?
To look at grants would be wonderful,
Yep.
rather than put it as a,
Okay.
a line item right now. I'm just,
Well, I wouldn't put it as a line item. I would do it as a one-time free cash expense.
right, but even that, I know, getting a little tight on the money right now.
And I appreciate being fiscally conservative and always having an
Yeah.
eye to what we should spend on. My fear is we don't want to be outpaced by our neighbors, right?
Right.
So we always want to
Right.
make sure we stay competitive. I don't think it's a poor use of funding by any means if you were to say 10,000 or something of that nature. I mean, planning board has to update their master plan this year. That's, a $15,000 process that they're going to be asking for some special funds for. And I think this is a perfectly appropriate thing to do that. What I can do is I can look into when the new community compact funds are expected to roll out, and if this would still be a potentially eligible project, which I'll see if I can figure that out. Because I don't know of any other funding source that funds something like this. But I can dig around a little more and see what I can
And maybe it could go on
find.
the, what you were talking, the other night, you were talking about a December date.
Yep.
And maybe this is something.
Oh,
that-
fall town meeting?
Fall town, that would, December isn't fall.
I know.
But this
It's just called,
Right.
how about a
You just-
special town meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. But, that way, that gives everybody time to look for grants,
Yep.
Yep.
but also it's there.
And the other thing also is that I don't know if we'd be interested in having the same organization that did the former compensation study, HR study for us. I wonder whether they might be interested at a pretty good rate, again, where she already has all the data from
And the job description
the town.
probably wouldn't have to be done.
Right,
Yeah,
no, the job
no.
descriptions wouldn't
And
have.
She did
She did.
The bylaws.
She
the very
did-
skeleton
She did this,
of the
Yeah.
policies
the
and
skeleton,
procedures.
she did the
You
job
had to
descriptions
change.
for us.
It was Sandy Stupinski.
I think so. I don't remember her last
I actually
name.
met her at MMA.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
in the
nice.
elevator. This is the weird stuff that
Nice.
happens there when you get everybody together.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed working
Very,
with her.
very
I thought
nice.
she was very,
Yeah.
very good, and.
You know what?
she-
I actually should reach out to her at least for a quote to find out
Yeah,
what the
she,
Right.
cost
she
is. Yeah.
was very good to our employees too, I think.
Wonderful.
She met with the employees, she talked with them, she kind of felt them out as to, is their job description correct? Is it not correct? And based on her meetings with them, she ran up some additional draft information and provided that to them for the employees to review.
Because
Okay.
it's
So-
probably also easier if we do it on a more regular basis versus there
Right.
being a big jump all of
Exactly.
a sudden, and it seems
Exactly.
like, oh my God,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know, if it's a gradual.
And she
It was
would
just
still have that
like
in
we
her
said,
data.
like she said, every 3 to 5 years,
Yeah.
it'll probably be, you know.
We had gone quite a while
Versus
without
10 years,
doing
and then all of a
It's
sudden
easier
hit
if
you
you
with it. and
Keep up, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm glad to hear you were happy, because I never want to like ask that question on
Right.
camera in case you're
Right.
like, she was terrible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But now that
Right.
you've shared that, that's
Right.
great. That's
Yeah,
a good
I
place for
hope
me to
so.
start.
Well, she
too.
also looked into other towns, because we had some positions that were not in the other towns.
Right.
You know, she
Sure.
went to all the surrounding towns and went, they don't have one comparable to this.
Right.
So you
Which was
kinda
good
have to
for us to
match-
sit back.
Yeah.
But it was also good for us to look at it and say, well, why do we have that? You know, and
Yep.
Mhm.
should it be reworked? And
Oh, good. So there's some outside of the box thinking
Yeah.
going on.
very
too.
much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Because I can say I've done some very cut and dry class and comp plan studies where not as much sort of that type of thinking has
Right.
gone into it. So I like to hear that. That's a really good
Okay.
No,
approach.
she did a lot of things. So, you know, the other thing is she looked at a bunch of towns and we went, you know, those really aren't there.
Yeah.
How about these? We'd like to add these 4 towns.
Right.
And she did it.
She did. So that was great.
Excellent. All right. I will. Does she have a company or is it just her?
I can't remember what it was called.
Yes, it's,
We can-
yeah, I've got all her stuff at home.
Yeah. If you
Either
could-
that or
I'm
I
sure I
put
can
it in
find
there.
it too. But
Yeah. Okay,
perfect.
all right.
So that was kind of my thinking too, is the next project for this committee to
Mhm.
work on. I know I think both were at the OPEB presentation.
Yeah, I did have some questions on
which,
that.
oh, perfect. That was going to be my next thing, was if you had any questions
I
about
love
it.
the actuarial stuff because I always did that with the pension at
Get
my
into the
former
numbers.
employer. So I do understand the liability involved and why it's up this high versus you only have to pay on it this much per year
Right.
versus, but I did have a couple OPEB questions. So as a, I do receive the town, the open enrollment information.
Yes.
So I guess I just want to make sure we understand this as well as, so when the OPEB team came together, the IAC, is that what you call it? They mentioned that this is based, the actuarial report was based on 50/50, which I found, looking at a lot of the area towns, that's what they also do, is the 50/50. There are a few that do a little more, but I have to say that a good portion of them did the 50/50. But I was wondering about the, so from age, because the Worcester County retirement permits the age 55, is that it?
Mhm.
55 retirement, right?
For certain usually public
Categories.
safety, yes.
Oh, I
Some
didn't,
years,
I wasn't
yes,
sure.
after years.
But I think there's like
There's a weird chart.
It's a chart that this many years versus this age, and it comes to me and it tells you how much you're going to get. Like, you're going to get
percentage,
80% of your pay, you're going to get 60%. So one of the things I was wondering about, so if you do go at age 55, say, so right now, I'll use the HMO for instance. So that particular premium is almost $1,200 for the individual plan per month, and so it's $1,178 actually, and the family plan is $2,889. So the employee would be paying, the retiree would be paying half of that. Am I correct? Okay.
Until
And the
they're
town
on
would be
Medicare.
paying half of that. All right.
Until they hit 62.
until they hit 62?
And they
And
can
then
go
they
on.
have-
They can go on
Medicare.
this MedX, is that,
Correct. Then
That's what I
they
wanted
have
to-
to go on that.
they have to go on this MedX too?
By law, you go on Medicare at 62.
Okay.
So, and it's something the town switches folks over to, and the MedX plan is something people can be on now. They're paying in full.
We just have to make sure that, there was something else I was gonna ask you about that, when it came to the MedX, because
So is that still 50/50?
The MedX
Yes.
is really what would be 50/50, because the MedX is the only plan the town will be paying for.
At 62 though?
Correct.
But from 55 to 62,
Correct.
the employee or the retiree would have to pay that 50% of that other plan, right?
Correct.
Okay.
You're not going to see too
I
many
just
people
thought that,
go,
I don't think so either. I
because
was
you can't
thinking the
max
same
out your
thing.
insurance.
You
I mean,
can
your
go to the
pension.
healthcare connector and get a plan that's very, it's not as lucrative, of course, as this, but you can get a good plan for $300 a month, $400 a month, a Tufts plan that covers a lot. So so I'll be surprised. I guess I'm just trying to read from you what your thoughts were on that, because I thought that was very, very, I don't think we'll see that many people going on the, do you?
I have two thoughts about it. One, you're not going to see that many people outside of public safety going at 55, because most people can't maximize their pension by
Right,
going at 55.
right.
So there's a few people, if they've been in the system for
Yep.
a long time
Yep,
at this point, that may
okay.
be able to, but
No.
I don't know any of them.
No.
Not sitting at
Yeah.
this table. But I'll give you a great example. My dad retired from a town at 62.
Yeah.
My mom's a year younger. So he could get on Medicare,
Right.
but my mom couldn't. So he had to keep his health insurance through the town for my mom for a year.
Yeah,
a year.
right.
And it's 50-50.
Right.
And his pension, I believe, was $1,700 a month, and the 50% was $1,100 just for
Right.
the health insurance.
Right, right.
It's very expensive.
Yep.
I don't think 50% is an unreasonable split. I think it's
Right.
a fair split. I think most communities do the 50-50.
Yeah.
I know there were some folks on the
There
IAC
was
who wanted
actually
more.
probably
Right.
more than
Right.
would like to
Right,
have done
right.
that, but that's
I-
just what
yeah.
they started
No, and I
with.
I absolutely understand that. I just, I want to educate myself on that. And my biggest questions were on this MedX 2 here, that you go on, it says retirees only,
Yep.
but that would be, now my other question was, there was nothing whatsoever in here mentioned about the Medicare B. And so, like, I have to pay $175 a month for my Medicare B. And so, who pays for that? And that's at age 65, though. I did not see anything
think
in
it
this
was-
report.
Is
What's-
MedX, hold on,
B, no, that's not. D is the prescriptions, right?
Yes, D is the prescription
hold
plan.
on, which
that's
part?
correct.
This is where the parts of the Medicare parts in my head get a little
Okay.
bit confused,
So
because I'm not a Medicare
A is
expert.
free,
Yeah.
and B
B,
is...
you're paying to the federal government, I thought.
Right, that's
So-
$175 a month.
Right, so the town's not contributing to that, just
Okay.
the MedX plan.
Okay, that's what I wondered. Okay.
Right.
All right.
I'm sorry, the letters get messed up in
That's
my
all
head.
right.
I know
No,
D is
believe me, I'm
prescriptions.
doing B, C, and D right now as we speak. So...
Yeah, that's where it gets
We're signing up
complicated.
today.
So,
yeah.
right, it's a supplement
Yeah.
plan, but not the prescription one, is what MedX is,
Right.
so.
So in your MedX plan,
D
the
is
MedX plan
prescription,
here,
yeah.
does that include the prescription plan? I hope. The MedX
I
2?
don't know. I
I'd have
thought
to
it was a
find out.
pretty close comparison to what we actually
Okay.
already have.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's
good.
basically
think.
the supplement.
That's
But it
what
must be
you
through the
don't pay
state,
for.
because that's why it's such a good...
No,
Nope,
that's
it's
through
through the
Maya.
town. It's through Maya.
Through
Yeah.
Maya?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Through either Blue Cross.
But that's
I
a
think it's
pretty
Blue
good
Cross right
price,
now.
$400.
It is, and we split it 50-50.
Right.
And that's why that $44,000 a year is why you're seeing that's all the premium is annually for the retiree health insurance, because you're not splitting on the long-term $2,800 a month divided by 50. You're generally splitting $400 a month divided by 50%.
Right, so the actuarial report is based on us not speculating that many people would get on these other plans.
Correct, and there's a whole calculation he runs where there'll be some people that go early, and you have to calculate
But I think
present
these
employees and
actuaries
future.
are like, so
They're like
he
math
couldn't even,
geniuses.
he couldn't even get that out. He didn't, like, I never heard that in his presentation. But
Yeah.
that's okay, because that's the way they think. They don't think like layman's terms, like all of us who sat, you know, for the most part, I understand a lot of it, because our pension reports, our actuaries used to do them, and I used to sit with them, so I understood it a little bit, but I don't think, I'm not sure that a lot of other people may have.
No, I did the people, I listened to the people words of the whole
Right.
presentation, or the things that people called afterwards and said, did you hear them say?
Yeah.
We
right.
asked a lot of questions at the
Right,
IEC.
so good, that was the, some of the questions that I had, and that really helps a lot, so thank you.
You are very welcome. And, you know, we're going to be coming back on hopefully the 5th. My goal is to get the IAC together next week with some potential cost-saving options as the board requested.
Yep.
And bring it back to the select board on February 5th. I almost said December. No,
And
we're not
work on
going
the
into reverse.
presentation a little bit, please.
Work on what?
Presentation a little bit.
In terms of?
Just,
More layman's terms and just,
no, because that part, I understand.
oh, okay.
But
Just
some-
the overview.
Yeah, sometimes comments are made that are red flags, scare tactics, that people listen to and go, wait a minute.
Yeah, it needs to stay right at facts.
It
as
needs to
what-
stay
Yeah.
at facts. Thank you. That's a nice
Yeah.
way. It needs
Yeah.
to stay at the facts, and we need to stay away from the other stuff.
Okay.
Because it wasn't just, you know, I had a few things that I took note of, and then I've had other people say to me, did you hear? And I went, oh, yeah.
I
you
didn't
did
go,
too."
but I did hear.
You did
about
too. So, just,
But,
I think the presentation needs to be thought about.
yeah,
Because I think it turns, you're getting people now, where you've gone from select board saying absolutely no, and now you've actually got select board saying, yes, we got to do this, we want to do it the right way.
right, right.
You know, you've come, but it always feels like you go 3 steps forward and then
Yeah.
step back. And it'd be nice to just kind of keep it, like you said, just keep to
Just
the
with
facts.
the facts, and if
Yeah,
there are
these are the
questions,
facts,
then
and-
ask
yep.
them. We can look into it if we don't have the answers. and-
Exactly.
We
Right.
do our best. Unfortunately, it is an
Yeah.
open public meeting, and
It
everyone
is.
is allowed to comment.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge we have.
It is. That's my.
All right.
Fair enough.
That's all I had, unless, do you have more?
That's
I don't
all
want
I
to
have.
keep you, you have finance committee tonight too,
Oh,
so.
that's right.
Okay, wait a minute.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Well, it's been for how long?
I know,
It's
so
been a
go.
long time.
I just want to double check. These are my phone calls. We had a resident who was on our insurance plan and got off of our insurance plan in July, I believe was the date.
Okay.
But, and I know this has already been addressed, and
Okay.
it's been reported. They got a bill that they were still on it. This, you know, I'm sure you already know this.
Yep.
In December. I just want to make sure, I know that particular person is taken care of now, supposedly. They're a little bit worried that all of a sudden they're going to get a bill that they owe something. But I just want to make sure that we go through all the other people that have left, that didn't happen to anyone else.
Yep.
You know, that someone's really researching that.
Yeah. We're working on it.
Did I say that nicely?
You
Yes.
said that fine.
Perfectly.
Yep.
Just, and another thing is, okay, before Peg and Dennis were the sexual harassment officers, Dennis is gone.
Mhm.
Who
Is
is
that
on-
you?
As HR director, that's me.
You're
The
the,
town
me.
administrator
Bless you.
bylaw, that would fall under the HR director.
I thought it was in the bylaw. No?
I thought there was, that's where it came up.
Did you not find it in the bylaw?
I found a little
Manual?
contradiction. I'm going to double check on that, because I just found a little contradiction.
Okay.
And, you know, maybe that's something that we need to go back and make sure that we reword it the right way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
double
we
check.
should make sure too, because it really, anything that's sensitive personnel information should go through HR, because there's training involved and understanding of how to handle
Right.
those situations, and you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and
I've
It's
done
a little
enough sexual
scary.
harassment stuff with the kids in court. Yes,
you get it.
I get that. But I just
So.
want to make sure.
And they always have the option too, if, they're not comfortable speaking to me, they can speak to a department head, or call anybody, and, we can figure things out that way too.
Right.
So it's not just like, oh, I can only talk to Kristen, no, I don't want to talk to her. No, there's other options.
No, that's-
So, Dee as my confidential admin too can assist, as she's involved in the
Yeah.
HR in the office as well. So if they're looking for a male, we could bring in a male department head. We have a lot of options
Right.
with regard to that, but it
No,
has
I just
be
want to
someone
make
with
sure that what I
background.
saw, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to look into that part. What was the other thing? Oh, this is a total curiosity. Senior work-off people.
Mm.
Do they do any hours at the school?
I don't think they
no,
ever
because we wouldn't
have.
be able to. How would we pay them?
No, we can't.
No, because
Okay.
it's regional. So
No, I was,
Oh.
okay, regional, yeah.
Oh, I
No,
see what you
just
mean, yep.
A couple of people came up with they were having major issues, different parts of the school, and just needed some different bodies. And I'm thinking, playground, cafeteria.
but
I don't know.
that's a.
But they're not
let me
town
think on it a little
employees.
The
bit.
They're
only
not
problem
town
with that
employees.
is that might be a little bit different because you're dealing with around children.
No, they have to have a Cory.
Yep.
Anybody that goes into the school
Right.
has to
No,
have a
that's
Cory.
what I mean,
Seniors
but-
or children.
Yeah. I didn't know if that would be a.
But I don't know how that would work with.
But the
maybe that's
school-
what we can have Victoria look into, because I'm not sure how that would, or Peggy, how that would work with the regional school. It's a
Yeah,
good
because
question though.
could they do it at Assabet? I don't know.
Yeah, I can.
No, I
can
just,
look into
I don't
it.
know.
there were some issues with some playground stuff. And I think, well, that's something that, just extra bodies to have eyes, when you actually have the trained people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And no, they do have to
Ask.
have. And, what else did we have? Hopefully I got everything. I got that one.
If not, you'll get a phone call.
Oh, job descriptions. Just when Victoria's looking for another person and all that, and somebody asked me about her pay, does she work under I thought she worked under two different job descriptions, correct?
Victoria
Down
COA,
same
not
COA.
library. Yes, so she is the COA director as well as the director of social services.
Right, so she's worked, but we never combined those job descriptions. That's still two job descriptions.
Let me check. Do you remember?
I didn't think,
It's one pay line-ish.
Yep.
It's not,
and should it be, if it's two jobs?
well, I don't know. I'm not putting this out there, but.
No, don't.
if it- Yeah.
I
But-
think it
But
was,
if you were to have a new person come in, would they be both?
and didn't we use different funds to pay for that second portion
Yes,
of the
now.
job?
Yeah, well,
Next year,
Remember?
no.
Right, ARPA was
Oh,
used
this year,
for-
no. Oh,
This year, yes.
Okay,
Next year,
no.
Right.
We're out, ARPA was slated to be used for 3 years for that position.
Okay, for 3 years.
Technically could be used
I
for
thought
longer.
it had to be
No.
outdone by 24.
Somebody,
What had to be done?
ARPA.
ARPA has to be allocated by the end of 24 and expended by the end of 26.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, all right. For some reason, I was thinking it was different.
no, this person thought that it was coming from police.
But-
No.
Oh, no.
No, no, no.
I
I
She's
just-
been
wanted to
working
put it-
down there.
Yeah.
To
there's
assist
an
them, but-
office.
Okay.
I wanted to
It
put
has
it
not
in the
been.
budget last year, and it just didn't work with everything, so
Okay.
I'm pretty adamant about putting it in the social services side
Yeah.
in the operating budget this year.
Okay.
But I'm just asking the questions that I'm asked.
But can we still use
Understood.
those ARPA funds, allocate those towards that, or
We've
no?
allocated them all.
Yeah.
Now, some
Oh, okay.
have come back with leftover residual, like,
Okay.
when you appropriate 30,000 and the
Right.
project comes in at 26.
Yep,
So
You
yes,
use-
you could piece a little together,
Okay.
but I'd rather not risk
Okay.
losing someone because
Right.
we may not have enough money.
Right,
I'd
okay.
prefer putting it in the
all right,
budget.
so you're putting it in the regular operating.
I tried to put it in
All
last
right,
year.
great.
So I'm
All right.
determined this year.
Good, all right,
I think there's a real need.
that makes sense, all right.
Yeah. It'd be good if we just kind of got out there and let people know what's really, you know, what's being done in that position.
Yeah.
And in this, I mean, I've just, like I said, it's just the water cooler talk.
Sure.
I'm down the food pantry.
Maybe she
so-
needs to
have
go to
Shine.
selectmen's
Yeah.
meeting and do a presentation. Because she's
Probably.
really
She's
awesome
really
and
good at
cool with
those.
that.
Yeah, because she's Shine certified now too, so she can help with all of the insurance shine ups.
A little more
Shine
on-
ups.
Shine ups. There
A
you
She's
little
go.
more
a
on the
shiny
activities
person.
offered, and I'm still gonna keep bugging, because I've said it before, you know, there's 34% of the seniors are seniors in town. But how many actually use her services? I think that's something that a lot of people are, because we always kid around that we're all a bunch of old ladies that walk,
Well, I think I forgot about that webinar.
and none of
that
us.
Medicare webinar that they were doing. I think she had
When
it in
is
the
that?
Powder House News.
Yep.
I think it was this week. Don't
Yeah, it
remember
is
the
this
date.
week.
I
But
missed
there's the
it.
digital literacy grant
Yeah,
program
that's what
going
I'm
on
saying.
right
It's-
now,
I
which
think
is
some of
great.
that stuff needs to
Yeah,
get,
We
great.
had a video,
Because-
YouTube video about it.
Yeah.
well, I don't get to watch videos, I'm
Okay.
cleaning
All
up
right.
stalls.
I think the Medicare thing is gonna be, I don't think it's happened yet.
Oh, you don't?
I can't remember. the
Okay,
date.
I'm gonna look it up in my Powder House News again.
Yeah,
find
check,
out.
because for some reason I
Alright.
thought I just heard somebody say
Okay.
something about it either tomorrow or.
But no, that
I
was,
don't know.
I got all of them done.
Okay, great.
Now, hopefully it won't be this long for another meeting, so my page won't be so
All
long.
right, well, thank you, and I think that's it. Are you all set? I'd like to
Set.
make a
Make a-
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.